Hello everyone and welcome to this video. Today I'll be showing you guys how you can persist state while changing the screens without using context API, and there are different ways you can do it, but I'm going to show you today how you were meant to do it using the latest version of React Navigation. Alright, so currently I have just initialized a new project here, React Native with TypeScript, and yeah, let's get started on this. First thing I want to do is to install React Navigation. Alright, so after opening the terminal, I want to navigate to the React Navigation docs just to introduce you guys to these awesome documentation pages here. And the first thing we can see it wants us to do is to install React Navigation native here. So we can copy that, go back here, paste it in, start installing that. Now if you scroll, there's a new command here if you're using Expo. I'm not using Expo, so I'm gonna keep scrolling to the next one here. Copy that, go back, and then copy paste this in here. Oh, I should actually be using Yarn since I started with Yarn, so let's do Yarn add. Okay, if you go back to the docs, we can see that it wants us to do pod install and then finalize the installation of React Native gesture handler by adding this at the top in our index.js or app.js. So I'll copy this, go back, open up index.js, put this here. Okay, now we need to remember to go to iOS and then do pod install. Since I'm going to be using the simulator for iOS in this video. After that's done, we can cd back into our folder here and we can start our project basically. There is one package in addition that I want to get though, and that is if we go to Hello React Navigation up here, it's telling us to install this React Navigation stack. So I'm just going to do that right away, and then we shouldn't be needing the docs anymore. So pasting that one in there. And now I can do React Native run iOS. Alright, after the app is done compiling, we should be seeing this screen on the right. And we can go into our app.tsx here. And in here, I just want to delete everything and just start from scratch here. And I have a little snippet to do this, just very simple TypeScript functional component. And the first thing I actually want to do is to move some files around. So after clearing out this file, I want to go back here, make a folder, call it source, and then just drop my app.tsx in there. And then open up index.js, press save, and this one as well, so the path is correct. Go back to app.tsx and then start up the navigation part. And for that we need to import navigation container from our package React Navigation native. Okay, and this should be the thing we wrap our app in. So let's do a navigation container here, like this. Yeah, and the navigation container expects a navigation stack. So let's define the stack here. So import from React Navigation stack. React Navigation stack here. And here we should be able to get a create stack navigator. Okay. and I'm going to define it outside my functional component. So root stack is equal to create stack navigator. Okay. Now this create stack navigator can also take a type. So let's define that type. Root stack. Let's just call it props. Now in this app I'm gonna have 3 pages. So here I'm gonna define the different name of my pages. So I'm gonna have a home page, and for now I'll actually just define this undefined. And for my select category page, I'm also just gonna put it undefined. I'm just gonna put 2 pages here for now. And now what I can do in TypeScript is I can pass in these props here. So now all the parameters I'll be passing around between these pages will be typed, and we're gonna have some auto completion going on in the IDE, which is very neat. Okay, so now after defining our stack here, we can go down into a navigation container. Inside here we can do root stack and then render out a navigator, and inside here we have our screens. So before continuing, let's define our screens. So in our source folder, I'm just gonna define them here. So home TSX, and here we just render view for now. And we're gonna have another one called select category TSX. And that's also gonna render a view. Okay, that's our 2 pages. Now we can go back here inside our navigator and we can start defining our screens. So root stack the screen, and now we can pass in the name. So I already have some auto completion going on here. It suggests either home or select category. So I'm just gonna choose home. Now the component is gonna be our home component, and it also auto-completes the page here. So that's pretty easy, just click enter. Now that's one of my screens here. That looks good. Now let's put in the second screen as well. And that's gonna be select category. Component will be select category. And that one is also auto-imported up here. Cool. Now let's just leave this navigation stuff for now and then jump into the home TSX folder here. So what do we want to do? So the goal of this video is that now after we're set up, we want to have something going on inside the screen and then be able to navigate onto the select category screen. And then whatever we select in select category, we want that to update our state inside our home page here. Okay, so let's start off by defining the props for this page. So type props, and that's going to be navigation, because we want to navigate to select category, so we need to be accessing navigation. And for that we can import stack navigation prop, and then we can pass in the root props here. So let me see, what did I call them? Root stack props. Oh, we need to remember to export that. So up here, export. Then we can go back here with some luck. No, try again. Root stack. Okay, it doesn't know where root stack props is, so let's import it. Root stack props from the app TSX. Okay, pass them in here. Now the second parameter that we pass in here is the name of our page, and that will be home. So let's put in home. There we go. Now this stack navigation prop is a generic that takes in 2 parameters, so to speak. One of them will be the props of the root, and the other one is the name of the page. Alright. After defining props, we can pass that in to another generic here, which is the React functional component. So let's put in props here, like this. Okay. Now, since we expect to get navigation here, we can expose that prop right away, like this. Okay, now let's get some content in here. So I'm gonna define a text field here, and I'm gonna say name, and then I'm gonna have a text input, and yeah, that should be cool. Then another text, and this should be the category. And for the category, I don't want a text input, but I want a button. And here it should say select category. Alright, this looks not great, but it works. So let's define a little bit of styling here. So gonna import style sheet, gonna call create on that, and then have some container styling here. So it's gonna be a bit of padding, and then I want to add some styling for the labels, and I'm gonna have some vertical padding and a little bigger font size. Yep. So for this one, I'm gonna reference styles.label. For the container, I will reference styles.container. Now it looks a little better, not a lot, but I'm gonna leave it like this for now. Okay, so let's define some state now. That will be the next step. So I'm just going to define some state here. It's going to be form fields, and I'll be using hooks. So I'm going to import that, and here I'm going to define the default state. And I'm going to put the name to blank and category also to blank. Now, since we're using TypeScript, we should also define the type here. So could be type form fields. Form fields. Let's put in name as a string, and let's just say the category also a string. Cool. Let's pass it in. I'll type into use state here. Cool. That's cool. Now the text input, we can set the value to form fields name now. And the category here, since I don't have a text input, I'm going to do a little different. So if our say here, if our, let's just make some backtext here and then say, actually let's remove them and say if form fields dot category if it's empty, we're gonna render out a text that says select no category selected. And otherwise we will just put the category out here like this, form fields dot category. Okay, so right now we don't have any selected. That's right. Okay, now let's try to navigate onto the new page here. So let's add an onPress on our button, and here when we click this button, we want to navigate to the new page. So we need to reference navigation. and then call navigate on that, and then the name of the page, which will be select category. Now, there is a method here where you can actually pass in some data. So here I can pass in category. So in case category is set, we will grab it on the select category page. Now some people might also attach a function here, but that is not the right way. So you could pass in a function here, call it inside the page, and that way update this page, but that's not how it's intended anyway. So I'm going to show you the right way. Now here you can see I'm getting an error, and that's because inside our select category page we don't expect to get any parameters. If we go to app.tsx, we can change this behavior. So here we can define if we are expecting to get anything passed. So actually for select category, we could expect to get something. So not undefined, but we could maybe expect to get a category, which is of type string. If we jump back to home, and then actually reference form fields category here, we should be golden. Yep, we are. Looks good. Now if I click this button, we will get to select category just fine, but there's nothing in here, so let's add a little bit of content. Alright, so I'm just gonna do something quick here. So I'm gonna define the variable outside. I'm gonna have some categories here, and I'm just gonna name some animals here. 3 animals, okay. Now inside our view, I'm gonna loop over these categories, and I'm gonna render out at touchable opacity. Yeah. And then inside this one, I'm gonna render a view, and inside that one, I'm gonna render some text. And inside text, I'm gonna render out category like this. Now I need to remember to add a key here, and my key is just gonna be category. Okay. So that doesn't look great there. I'm just gonna add a little bit of styling. So again, I'm gonna add a variable called styles, import style sheet, call create on that, and then define some styles here. So I want some padding, I want some background color, and I want a border bottom color of, let's just choose some grayish color, and I also want to assign a width of 2. Now in my view here, I can reference styles dot item, and that looking a little better. So now I can at least hit the one I want. Okay, it's looking good. Now there is a little more we need to do in here. So every time we have a page, we need to remember to define our props. So I'm going to define type props, and in this case I'm expecting to use the navigation prop, so I'm just going to define that one. Stack navigation prop here, pass in our root stack props again, and then the name of the page, which will be select category. Okay, now we can expose navigation down here, and on press we can access that navigation prop, and we can do something here. So yeah, what should we do here? So here we want to navigate back, right? So let me see, I actually do get an error here. It seems like I forgot to pass in my type. Passing in that type solved the problem, and now I'm also getting some IDE support here. That's good. Now I want to navigate back, right? I want to navigate back to home, and yeah, since I'm going from home to select category and from select category to home, this is basically the same as calling go back on the navigation object here, but this time around I can actually pass something along with it. And the thing I want to pass will be this selected category. So let me pass in category. Actually, I can do a shorthand here, just do like this. Now it's gonna complain here because once again I'm trying to pass in a prop or some data that I didn't reference in my type. So going back to FTSX, I can go up here in home and then say we might receive a category here. We're not sure though, so I'm putting in this question mark here like this, and that should fix our little problem here. Okay, cool. So now we are in select category. We're pressing here, we're going back, we're passing in what we chose, but we're not picking up on it yet. Okay, so that will be the next thing, and this is kind of the important part. So how do we actually grab that value? Well, to grab that value, we need to define a useEffect hook. So let me show you how that's done. I'm gonna show you two ways to do it, because I want to create a useEffect hook that works on multiple pages with different values. But I'm just gonna show you the very basic one first. So let's import useEffect and let's define our useEffect here. So remember in useEffect we pass in here in this array the props that might change, right? So the prop that we are looking for this time around will be the route prop, and the route prop also comes from React Navigation. So let's since it's a property, we need to type it up here. So route, what is route? Route is a route prop. So this is a type, we grab it from React Navigation native, and it also takes the props for the or the types for the route. So we need to pass the same one in here, and as before we also need the name of the page. Okay, yeah, that should be good. So now we can expose route here like this, and down in useEffect we can finally in our dependency array put in route, but not only route, we also want route.params here. So if something happens in the parameters that is passed to this route, we need to do something. So the first thing I want to check is whether we have something in route params, because we may not have it. It might change, but it may change to nothing, right? So we need to make a check here. But if we have something, I want to call setFormFields, and I want to use this syntax where I have the previous state like this, and then a callback. So here I am gonna make a copy. Oh, sorry, I'm not actually gonna make a copy for this function. I'm just gonna do a immediate return here where I copy previous like this, and then trying to grab category here from route params category. Now you can see it is complaining here because category is optional. So I'm not really sure how to get rid of this issue other than doing a string like this. But actually I just thought of something on the fly. Let's see if we can do a check here. So no, okay, I just give up at this point. I just do it like this, because if raw params is set, I know that at least the category will be in there. So here I'm doing the as string notation. Okay. Now let's see if that works for us. So it actually seems like it already updated over here. We have horses here. If we didn't have horses, it would be saying select category. So actually let's try to refresh this. So no category selected. I go back. If I choose cows, it says cows. Chickens, chickens, horses, horses. So it's working pretty well. We can't update our first text field here because I didn't add any logic here, but I could do that. So unchanged text, I want to call set form fields, same way as before, copy previous, and then set the name to name. So I'm gonna expose name here like this. Oh, so now we can update name here, and we can also select the category. The styling is ugly, guys, but it's working. We are now successfully from our home page here going to a new location, and then we are passing that selection back and then grabbing it in our useEffect here. So the next thing I want to show you guys is how we can do this efficiently with multiple pages, because we might have a bunch of input points here where we need to go to another page to select something, to get to have more space basically to do our selection, because it can get pretty tight on this small screen. We might have to go somewhere to do selection, right? So how can we do that? Now I'm gonna add another page. Oh, I'm gonna not a folder. So I'm gonna add another page called select type, and I'm gonna go in here, select category, just copy everything, then rename select category to select type, and then I'm going to rename this categories to types, and here, and for each category I will reference type here just to make it more correct. Okay, and then select type, yeah, that's right. And then instead of animals, I'm gonna say normal, strange, crazy. Just have some different types of here. Now we're getting some, gonna close that one. We're getting some type errors here, but that just means we need to go back to FTSX and define this page. So we have a new page, it's called select type, and just as select category, we might get a type here, or we will get a type here. And our home page, well, we might also get a type, because what if we are on the type page? Then we will have a new parameter passed to home. So let's put that one in there. We also need to remember to add a screen down here. So root stack screen name select type, and component should also be select type. And we did an auto import, so let's import our here now. Cool, let's go into home. and then just copy this part, and let's change this one to type. Select type. We want to navigate to select type, and we want to pass in a type if any is defined here. Okay, we are getting a complaint here because we still didn't define or update our form fields. We'll do it in a moment. So let's just take these 3 fields and put type there. And now we can go up here, put in type, leave it blank, and we can also update the type up here. Okay, so we should probably have done this first just to avoid all the errors, but it's okay for now. Alright, so now we have a type here. We can go to the type page, we can choose a type, and we are back. Now, as you can see, it's not picking up on the type I selected. If I go to the category though, it still works. So that is because we tailored this useEffect to only work for our category. So let's just outcome this and create another useEffect, one that's gonna work for both, and also for our future extra pages that we might have. So let's do useEffect, define dependency array. It's still gonna be route.params. Let's put it in. And we're still gonna do a route.params check. So far so good. And we will also be doing a set form fields. But this time I will not be doing a immediate return. I will pass in a closure here. So I'm going to be doing some extra stuff now. So what I'm first going to do is to create a copy. So I'm just going to call it copy, or we can call it new state, whatever you like. Make a copy of previous state. And now here comes the magic. So we need to make a for loop. Inside this for loop, we will be doing something here of object.entries. And you might see we're not getting any autocomplete here with entries, and there's a reason for this. So let's delete this part and go to our tsconfig here, because we actually need to upgrade our library, because we are going to be using a method on the object that that are not in ES6. We need to upgrade actually to ES 2017, I believe. I'll try to save that. Go back. Let's do object.entries. There we go. Now it shows. And the one I want to be calling object.entries on is route.params. Okay. And I'm just going to do an array destructuring right inside the for off loop here. So I'm going to do it like this, key off. Oh, we are getting an error here because I saved, but the code looks okay. So just to quickly explain what this actually does, this object.entries, it returns both the key and the values. So previously we can, or if you know object.keys, object.values, these are different methods for getting out values from an object, but here we get both the key and the value. Okay, so what we want to do now is inside our copy, actually we call it new states, we want to put in on whatever key that are inside route params, we want to assign that key to an attribute inside our state, and then just put the value there like this. And now we can return new state. Now the program runs, but we do get an error here, and the reason why this is an error is because something with the types. So we're doing a dynamic how do you say, a dynamic assignment here, and that's not really going to work out with this type. So we need to add an additional field to take care of that. And the way we can do it is to add square bracket and then do key string and then put any here. Now this will make TypeScript basically understand that we might get a dynamic value coming in. Putting any here is not pretty, but this seems to be the easiest solution to this type problem. So now if you go back to useEffect, our error is gone, and yeah, let's see if it actually works. This should take care of any extra attribute in here that we might get. There are some constraints though with this hook, and that is the naming that we use for these params that we pass from our pages needs to align with the naming up here. So that's just a quick reminder. If you want to have this hook, use this hook for all of your cases. Okay, let's see if it works. Select category, horses, that works. Select crazy, that also works. So it seems like our hook here is taking care of everything. Let's try to add a name. This test, yeah, that's also working. Great. So yeah, that is cool. It seems like everything is working. So yeah, that's what I want to show you guys. This is how you will communicate between your pages in your React Native apps. This is how you should do it, and yeah, I hope you learned something from this video, and I'll see you in the next one.